Now, Amnesty International came out with a research most recently and stated that the reasons that we're having this increase in attacks is because we lack policing, especially in rural areas where these bandits have a free day. And also, we do know that the Police Service Commission came out just a couple of months back to say that they have about 150,000 police personnel safeguarding or protecting VIPs in the country and politicians. And we have a total police personnel workforce of just 370,000. And undermining the Inspector General of Police some couple of years back had pushed, especially 22nd of October of 2020, pushed for most of these police to be withdrawn from VIPs. But do you feel this is also a problem we're having, that most of these communities are not well policed, and that's why we're having the spate of this?
Now, let me say this again. I said it initially that, the effort of government and all what we tend to see the government doing, or we see the government doing at the moment, is actually an attempt to attack the effect rather than the cause of all these issues. And the issue is not really about the number of policing, you want to have 1 million policemen and all that kind of stuff. One, good. If you have increased number of policemen, it's fantastic. But then, something needs to be corrected. There's a mindset that has been created, all right, already, that these bandits, for instance, the herdsmen and all that, they are untouchable, that you can't really do anything, to them, even when you apprehend them, because we come from, Abuja and all that, to set them free, and that your government cannot really do anything to them. I think that mindset, if that mindset is not corrected, then the average policeman you are sending out there to go and ensure there is peace and security in the communities is also incapacitated. Knowing fully well that if I apprehend these people, my efforts might not really hold waters. All right? So as much as we talk about increasing number of policemen across communities and all that, one, we also need to give orientation to many of these policemen because they have bad orientation. We need to work on them. All right? Then we need to correct that psychological issue I just mentioned. Thinking that the headsmen, they can do anything with relish, and you can't harm them, you can't do anything to them. All right? We have to correct that. Then what are the Fulani men, headsmen and all that? What are they still doing with arms? Can't we enact laws prohibiting, if we have laws prohibiting private individuals, from possessing ammunition? Why should these people have, the right to carry arms? Can't we do something about that? Then beyond all that, I also feel that, like I said initially, there is a problem. And some of these problems are sociological, some are political and economical. Until we bridge this gap, the gap between the rich and the poor is very wide. The reason why you have less criminal activities in the Western world is, one, the gap is closed. There's nothing like a lower class. You only have the middle and upper class. And that is to say, if you have a medical doctor, for instance, who receives about 12 million naira monthly as salary, the driver of that medical doctor gets about 8 million naira. So why should the driver think of, any kind of enforcing any kind of bad behavior? It's not possible. So we must close that margin. Now the economy of this country is not working. Things are not working in this country. Government must also, in trying to tackle these problems of terrorism, this problem of banditry, government must also close this gap. All these companies, industries that are not working, government must make them work. Government must solve the problem of our universities churning out about 3.5 million graduates annually. But government is not talking about creating new opportunities, industries and all that, or creating an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Nothing is happening. Businesses are dying, collapsing every day. Government is not doing anything about this. If we can solve, for instance, the power problem in this country, if we can solve it, then we have solved about 25 to 30% of the problem of this country. Because businesses will thrive, there will be opportunities. Now, these youths who are graduating every day from the university, without the hope of getting job, what's going to happen at the end of the day? The other day, Ngige came out, the Minister of Labor came out and said that it is not the duty of government to provide job for you. But it's the duty of government to set up universities, to churn out this labor force. Then they graduate from this university with this stereotyped mindset of white-collar job. Then the white-collar job is not forthcoming. My brother, there's going to be a tsunami. And the problem of insecurity is going to worsen. So it's not enough just talking about increasing. The solution is not increasing number of policemen. But for me, I support, I'm strongly against, strongly in support of withdrawal of our policemen from all these dignitaries. That's why they are messing up. In Germany, for instance, you see Angelo Merkel riding bicycle, there's no security man. I was in Germany in 2019. One of our governors in this country, from one of our states, was governor-elect then. I don't want to mention him. He was there. I was a resource person at the UN Global Festival of Action, Global Festival of Action in Bonn. And I saw him there. I didn't see him with any aid. I didn't see him with any policeman. In fact, when I was queuing to get food, he was fought behind me. So they mess up so much in this country, but when they travel abroad, they behave. Why can't we make Nigeria in such a way that, why can't we replicate the kind of model that we see abroad? So the issue is not just increasing number of policemen, because if you increase number of policemen and these issues are not corrected, these problems are not solved, there's going to be a tsunami.
Okay, now talking about the solution to it, just like what you said, there's a recent call for a national conference to be staged on security. And on the 29th of April, the PDP added their voice to that call. Do you feel, and also we saw in the papers today, that most persons, especially the Afenifere, are calling for a national conference to be held or staged in Nigeria to deal with the issues. But we know the presidency 2 weeks back said there will be no need for that. But I want to ask you, would a national conference on security help to salvage the situation?
That's another error. Another error. So at times it hurts me so much that those in position, those in authority and all that, sometimes they don't think. Is there any solution that we have not, as in discussed? Any issue of security we've not discussed by past confab? Look at the confab, the last confab that was done.
2014.
In 2014. Now, a report was issued. In fact, in the history of this country, that was one of the biggest achievements for us as a nation. But now you ask yourself, what has government done with that report? Has government set up a committee to look? For me, I feel it's static, but because that report is all encompassing. It includes issues of security. It includes economic issues, different issues. For me, the first point is to set up a committee to look at the various reports that have been generated by various confabs or various committees that have been set up.
Rather than starting
where you're going to spend billions again, and it's going to create another atmosphere or avenue for many of these stupid leaders we have in this country to loot more funds. We keep looking out for avenues to loot funds. The challenge or the problem, the solution is not the stupid confab or whatever they are talking about. They should address the issues. We have reports already. Look at that report and look at the solution provided. Or you want to tell me too that they don't have the solution? They know the solution. Now let me give you an instance. When they kidnapped the mother of the CBN governor, the person of Godwin Emefiele, you remember that?
Some couple of years back.
Over 250 highly trained DSS officials were deployed into the bush. And in less than 24 hours, they were able to rescue the mother from the bush. They rescued the mother from the bush. I feel one of the reasons or part of the reasons why we are not taking this thing seriously, why our leadership is not taking this thing seriously, is because it does not affect them. Because if it affects them directly, they are going to move. They are going to do something. And it hurts me so much that the innocent policemen are not shedding their blood. The innocent Nigerians are not shedding their blood for the offense committed by these leaders. It's very painful. It's not comfort. Let's stop this issue of this. That's another venue to loot us.
Okay, now, still talking about the solutions. We know on the 27th day of April, President Buhari himself, just last week, Tuesday, had a virtual meeting with the U.S. Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken. And he requested for the movement of the AFCOM, I'm talking about the security outfit of the United States, from Stuttgart in Germany back to Nigeria to help salvage the issues. And especially to help fight against Boko Haram. Boko Haram, we know, last week hoisted their flag in Shiroro local government.
They were able sharing money, 20,000 naira.
In Niger State. And we saw what played out.
Yes, in
that even some of and some of even the wives of the villagers were taken away from them and allocated to members of the Boko Haram. And we also are getting reports
Yes.
just on Saturday that about 65 communities have come into alleged negotiation with Boko Haram to be paying them 20 million naira not to be raided. But that's all allegations, and we're alleged to say that. But why I'm asking this question, would the Americans come help us bring back that security we truly need? Like what they did against ISIS in Iraq and Syria. Would this be another beautiful development? Them coming?
No, yes. It's two on one condition. It's going to be a beautiful development on one condition. You know, I gave you an instance of the meeting head, you know, the high...
Previously.
Yes, previously.
Some years back.
You know, and how, you know, it was aborted. Okay? Now, there is a... Like I said, we must not forget the fact that a lot of these people have made a very big enterprise out of this. Now, nobody wants to see his enterprise collapse. You get the point? Nobody wants to see... So, the only way the Americans' intervention can work is, one, they have to operate independently.
Away from the Nigerian military force.
Away from the Nigerian military force. And from the Nigerian government. Well, now imagine a government that has, you know, recruited a lot of, you know, the other time they were talking about recruiting, you know, giving amnesty to Boko Haram members and bringing them into the military. You know, that's the worst kind of stupidity you can ever imagine in the world. You know, once a terrorist is always a terrorist. And it's just a way, because in the military, we have a lot of military operatives that are working with Boko Haram. And if care is not taken, may God help us, because before you know, when Nigerians, you know, begin to perceive or, becomes helpless over the government's ability to, you know, nip the issue in the bud or protect them, then you might likely see what you just talked about. Communities going into contracts privately with Boko Haram, please exclude us from your attacks. You can kill every other person, but exclude us from your attack and all that. And that's the worst thing that can happen in any nation. You know? So for the Americans' intervention to work, they have to work independently of the government. Because like I told you, our government, they know those people who are sponsoring this thing. They know those people who are benefiting and feeding fat from it. And you and I, we know them. But the challenge with us is sycophancy is a very big problem. Nobody wants to speak out. Because nobody wants to be indicted for fear of the unknown. So everybody is keeping quiet. You see how this is always, one of the words I hate so much is allege. There's no smoke without fire. You only talk of allege. And look at the character, the people, the source of such information. Like I told you about Obada Melafia. You know, he's a PhD graduate from Oxford University. How can you despise, you know, the kind of information coming from this kind of persons? You know, so government must give way for the US government to succeed in their intervention. If not, if they come in here, they will still fail. If there's no proper separation, that's intel, in terms of information, this and intel, there will be proper separation for them to operate. Look at how they rescued the American the other time. They did not involve Nigeria. They did it privately. To nip this, to capture these people is not an issue. It's not a big deal. For crying out loud. But it's just because this thing is not affecting them directly. If by the time you start hearing that a governor has been kidnapped, a governor has been this, a governor's son adopted, this, then you see solution to the problem. Because right now it appears to be far away from them because it's not itching them, it's not touching them. So we are treading on a very dangerous path. And when we talk of civil, I heard people talking the recent thing that the country is going into, might likely go into civil war and all that kind of stuff. The situation we are passing through in this country already is more than a war, is more than civil war. Do you know what it means for your child to go to the university, graduate after spending money, graduate from the school? There is no job opportunity.